Thank y'all so much for coming this evening. We really appreciate it. I think I have the best turnout for District 7. So thank y'all for taking time out of your Monday evening to come and listen to two presentations, actually. One on the comprehensive plan, the 2050 comprehensive plan, and then the bond package in 2026. Your input is incredibly valuable, and we don't know what to advocate for if we don't hear from our residents. And so your participation is incredibly valuable. It does not go unheard. I'm going to turn the program over to Tony, to get us started. But again, thank y'all so much for coming. We appreciate the time, and I look forward to getting your feedback.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Tony Harold. I'm the planning manager on the Long Range Planning Division for the City of Fort Worth. We actually have a video to show you really quick to walk you through our 2050 comp plan, a good summary of where we are, where we've been, and where we're going to be going.
In the 2050 Comprehensive Plan, the City of Fort Worth is looking far ahead.
This is our Fort Worth, the place where we grew up.
Where our friends will build dreams and where the choices we make today shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Our city is growing faster than ever, but growth takes smart planning. Designing neighborhoods and districts where people can live, work, learn, and play within reach.
It's about thinking long-term. And now's the time to reimagine where we can go next. That's what the 2050 Comprehensive Plan is all about. A vision and a plan for how we grow, connect, and thrive over the next 25 years.
Think of this as a big picture way to plan. Instead of focusing on one property at a time, we look at how entire neighborhoods, streets, and districts fit together, how homes link to schools and work sites, and how trails lead to parks and community centers.
Imagine turning an empty lot into a playground.
Imagine turning an empty lot into a new home or a business right down the street.
We can create active neighborhood centers where people meet up with family and friends, connected by green corridors, trails, and efficient transit that link every corner of our city. This kind of planning keeps each area's character intact while giving every neighborhood a chance to grow in a way that fits its residents.
Our future can be a place with even more great jobs and innovative companies, with advanced employment and higher education centers.
Vibrant places, great neighborhoods, a city we're all proud to call home. That's the future the Comprehensive Plan helps guide for all of us.
So what will Fort Worth look like when I grow up?
Those decisions start now, and they start with you. Your voice, your ideas, your priorities, they shape the goals and policies that will guide our future.
This is your chance to help decide how land is used, how growth happens, and how we enhance the character of our neighborhoods.
Join the conversation.
Share ideas.
And help us reimagine Fort Worth.
This is our chance to make Fort Worth a better place with fun.
So now I'm just going to briefly walk through how to stay involved with the comp plan as we move through our process. This is the second part of the comprehensive plan. Our first phase was primarily community engagement. We wrapped up about a year ago, and now we're beginning our second phase of plan implementation. And right now we're in the early stages of that in our vision confirmation phase. But from now on, our primary mode of communicating any steps with the comp plan is going to be through Connect Fort Worth. So right now, if you'd like to access this QR code through your phone, this will be our main website where we're going to have all of our comp plan updates, pictures from our community engagement, any tools we have, and especially, as we're going to show you in a second, our existing survey for our interactive survey that's going to be going through December. We're going to want to give some people a chance to get to the website. We'll walk through some pages of that to kind of show what it looks like. You can go. It's a simple 5-minute survey, and you can get to it through this link in the text down here, completing the survey. We're going to continue to build out our site as we work with our consultants and have more available for the public. So the survey is super simple. It's 7 pages. You'll walk through. Connor's just going to kind of walk through page by page here. Generally, how you feel about your community. What are some priorities that you have about the community? There's some slider bars, some free-form questions. There are also a couple of interactive maps. One asking you where you live, and then there will be one where we're going to ask you to locate some specific areas within Fort Worth that you would like for us to focus on specific things, development areas. So this is the strategic development areas map on your phone. We want people to continue this as they get to this on their phone. So there's some how-tos on the tablet or smartphone information button right there. But this really allows you to go in, circle areas, big or small. You can zoom in, zoom out. Let's say you wanted to add a park there. You can add that in, or you can, whatever you'd like in this part of the survey. So yeah, this is essentially it. There's going to be some demographic questions towards the end. Feel free to answer any questions you feel comfortable with, but we really do want to understand who is taking our survey. Name and email as well, if you would like, and then submit. We just ask you if you take it, please submit it. We use these answers directly in developing our plan. And so in addition to this, check back often to Connect Fort Worth. We're going to have updates as we get updates through there. We're going to have outreach activities as well with locations. And right now I have Connor McDonald, Senior Planner on the team, and Eric Flatiger, Assistant Director. We're over here with our boards for the Connect Fort Worth project, and we have some dots to hand out too if you wanted to kind of put 4 dots on your top 4 priorities as we move towards 2050. So yeah, we are here to answer any questions you have towards the end of the presentation or over at the table. Thank you. And now is April Rose.
Thank you, Tony. All right, we're going to go ahead and begin with a video to kick us off.
In the 2050 Comprehensive Plan, the City of Fort Worth is looking far ahead, setting an ambitious vision for how our city will grow and thrive in the decades to come. But bringing that big picture vision to life starts with real short-term action. That's where the 2026 bond comes in. Every 4 years, Fort Worth voters have the chance to shape the city's future through a bond election, a way of funding essential public works projects. For 2026, the city is developing an $840 million bond package focused on the foundations that keep Fort Worth moving forward. Out of the city's 67-cent tax rate, almost 15 cents go toward paying off debt like bonds. The proposed bond package fits within that amount, so your tax rate won't go up. Fixing every identified need across the city would cost billions, so we have to be strategic. That means making fiscally responsible decisions that deliver the biggest impact with the dollars available. Using data, master plans, and community priorities, city staff identify projects that can leverage external funding partnerships and balance needs across every part of Fort Worth. More than 60% of the proposed bond package focuses on streets and mobility, designing and constructing major roadways and intersections, upgrading and repairing bridges, reconstructing neighborhood streets, and improving pedestrian safety. The proposed transportation projects were chosen to advance the priorities identified in the city's master transportation plan. And the remaining funds support essential community needs that strengthen neighborhoods across Fort Worth, like public safety, animal care, library upgrades, and affordable single-family housing. These projects aren't chosen lightly. They're shaped by data, careful planning, and most importantly, your feedback. Help build our future. Use our interactive Balancing Act tool to explore the proposed projects and share your input on what projects should be prioritized. You and your neighbors will vote on the bond projects in May 2026. The comprehensive plan sets our long-term vision. The bond program helps make it happen.
All right, so that was a great video with really 3 key takeaways that I really want to highlight. 1, is that through the tax rate, it fits that the bond, the 2026 bond, fits within your existing tax rate. Part two, or item two, is that these specific projects implemented, as well as being in design and implemented, go across the city of Fort Worth. And so you really get to see the benefits at any point in which you travel throughout the entire city. And three really comes back to engaging. So this is the one step in which we come all together through each respective district, and we're able to really get to your feedback. Earlier today, you were able to walk through all of your respective tables, and you're able to actually interact with city staff who I consider are subject matter experts in areas within transportation, within parks and open space, all of our 911 and emergency services, as well as our aquatics, as well as stormwater, and our street maintenance fee. But today, regarding the 26th bond election, I really want to highlight our six propositions. So something to highlight, at the state level, you sometimes hear about propositions that are numbered, whereas here at a municipality level, the propositions are lettered. So each proposition is voted on, Proposition A being related to streets and mobility at about 60%, as Christiane mentioned in the video. Proposition B as parks and open space at about 22%. And then C, D, E, and F, ranging as shown here through the remaining funding, for a total of $840 million. Now, in the preceding slides that we're going to go ahead and walk through, you'll also notice that if you took out your calculator right now and you try to add everything up, there may be like a slight delta that's missing. And that is all related to the public art funding, and that is per the city ordinance. So it's about 1% for Proposition A, and about 2% for Propositions B through F. So located on the right-hand side, you'll see all the various projects that apply to each one of our propositions. And if you really want to see like a hands-on exhibit, it is located right here at the very front, and we also have some handouts for you. So Proposition A, related to streets and mobility. At $511.5 million, the breakout is as shown. So not only will we be expanding major roadways, we'll be rebuilding minor roadways. So this is what you have come to consider your neighborhood streets, as well as some of the minor individual roadways within the city network. It's also about new and upgrading traffic signals, upgrading the intersections, bridge and safety connections. Our infrastructure is aging, and through the 2026 bond, we're able to utilize some of these dollars to go back and build and rehab some of our bridges, as well as sidewalk and school safety, as well as our Vision Zero project. So if you have a question related to Vision Zero, City Council actually adopted the Vision Zero Safety Action Plan just last month, and I highly encourage you to go online, read more about it, because a lot of that was over about a year's time to really go in, see what can be designed, what can be planned out, so that through funds in the 2026 bond, we can actually take those dollars and begin to implement some of those projects so that you can actually see that come to life. Next are railroad crossings, as well as some street lights. For Proposition B, we have parks and open space. And this is also related to careful planning that has gone on throughout our time in which we have adopted a couple of different plans. So previously with the Streets and Mobility Plan, that is related to the Master Transportation Plan, whereas Parks and Open Space, we have two respective plans. One is related to the Green Print, and that is in which we have about $185.1 million that is dedicated through Proposition B. So we have some that is applied for upgrading metropolitan and community parks. So metropolitan parks is related to, say, the water park, or if you drive on over to Gateway Park, you can really see some of those, some of that design implemented with these dollars. It's also rebuilding the Tatiana Carr Jefferson Community Center at Hillside, the open space land conservation, and that is specific to land acquisition of natural green space so that we can move into the future and we can have space for our future citizens to really have some of that feedback and being able to enjoy green space areas within the city. There's also the new aquatic center, so that's two respective centers that are located on there, and if you ever want to really dive into more of the details, I do highly suggest that you go speak to Scott over with our Proposition B table. The Botanic Garden upgrades, the Water Garden upgrades, as well as the Fort Worth Zoo infrastructure. So for Proposition C, this is related to public library. At about $14.6 million, this includes a relocation of the Fort Worth History Center, the renovation of Southwest Regional Library, the renovation of Diamond Hill and Jarvis Library. And for Proposition D, for public safety, I like to look at this as the new, rebuild, and rehabilitate. So it's related to the new Fire Station 46 with the Southwest Fort Worth at $19.4 million, rebuilding of Fire Station 40 in Northwest Fort Worth, and if you're familiar with the Zipper building in downtown, that is the location which will be rehabilitating that specific building to house the new 911 call center. So for Proposition E, we have an animal shelter, and this is at about $59.9 million to build a new animal control shelter with increased capacity. It's intended to replace the current Chuck and Brenda Silcox Animal Shelter. For Proposition F, this is related to affordable single-family housing at $5 million, and this includes buying vacant and blighted properties and funding construction infrastructure costs to develop affordable single-family housing within the city. So it's about $1 million related to being able to buy vacant and land acquisition, and then about $4 million related to that capital infrastructure cost, because those can generally increase over time related to infrastructure. So just to recap, related to the bond programs over time, in 2018, you can see all the various propositions, and that was about $400 million, and that's shown here on this exhibit. Then we would fast forward to 2022, whereas 2018 is sort of grayed back in the background. You could see where the city implemented and went through with 2022 bond. And then moving forward to present day in 2026, you could really see how a lot of those plans that Christiane mentioned in her video earlier also help kind of guide where and how these projects were then selected. You can also see the vast application throughout the city of Fort Worth and how these projects are applied. So, as I mentioned earlier, today is about engagement. Today is about really going to each one of these respective tables, asking questions. If you have specific projects that you would like to vocalize and really see that you may be interested in seeing as part of this 2026 bond. The projects that we kind of walk through today is what we have like our best foot forward. This is the starting point. This is the point in which we can really interact and really give you what we felt was data-backed and everything. But if there is a specific project that you are interested in, this is not an all-encompassing list. In fact, we want you to be able to engage with us to let us know what other areas or what types of projects you'd like to see that could fit within the propositions. But of course, understanding that, hypothetically, if you wanted to say rebuild Fire Station 12 stockyards at $15 million, you'd have to also be able to swap out that same dollar amount throughout that respective proposition. So probably adding one project on would mean taking off another. And so we highly encourage you to provide your feedback. So if you take out your phones today and you highlight with your photo or with your phone that little QR code, you can also go to connectfortworth.com and you can log on to get onto the Balancing Act, in which you can select a project to add on, and then you can reduce another. Say that you want to go all in on Proposition A. Well, that would mean that Proposition E, F may be reduced some. And so that is actually live data that we are collecting, in which you can actually submit that. You can mention why, you can add comments to that, and that is the type of information that we will be aggregating so that we can then share with leadership, share with council, so that once again we can vocalize where we would like to see your dollars. So all that to say is, moving forward, we're here today to really engage with you. This is fall 2025. The project list will be finalized late 2025. So if you took a photo, if you go to Connect Fort Worth, share it with your neighbors, share it with your friends, share it on social media, because in January 2026, council will call election so that we can come back to inform the public of what that final list looks like. And then we hope to see you out there voting with whatever decision on whatever proposition for the bond election on May 2nd, 2026. But with that, I will go and open it up for questions, but I am going to be deferring to my subject matter experts that are all located all around the room in this area. So thank you. Yes.
Provide a brief overview of how the budget was allocated? Was it council that worked on it over time, or do you have another team of people? How do we come to this, out of curiosity?
Yeah, so this was actually a citywide effort. And so each one of these propositions are informed by the plans that were developed. And those plans each had respective project lists. And of those project lists, we did take into account a couple of different factors: the location, the areas in which there was a high need. So sometimes whenever we look at the master transportation plan, for example, there's some network connectivity, there's some modeling that comes into effect. You can replicate that across other plans as well. And that information was informed as far as like data and as far as being able to rank specific projects. But this entire project list that you see and that you've kind of interacted with folks here today, that actually started back in October 2024. And it was about $2.7 million need, or $2.7 billion need, excuse me. And from that amount, we're able to start to really refine that amount, because we wish we could be able to cover all of our projects. But at this point, to try to put a list together to fit within that $840 million, we then worked with all of our departments to then work with City Council to then move forward and present to you today. Yeah. Yes.
You told us about the potential for some horse trading between projects and so forth, swapping some in and out. Is that strictly within each of the 6 proposals, A through F, or is it, can money actually be moved, for example, from A to B?
They can be moved from Proposition A to B to C. And again, going through that balancing act can really tell you, or can really shine some light on what that looks like.
Okay. Yeah. And one more question, if I may, before I hand over.
Absolutely. Keep asking.
Specifically on the parks, I have a question about Gateway Park. You mentioned Gateway Park, but there was no specific number for Gateway, and I'm assuming it's contained within the $57.5 million for Metro and Community Park improvements?
Yes. And so this list is available over with Scott. Scott, if you can raise your hand. And then we also have Dave right over here. Actually, I'll hand off the mic to Dave.
Sure, thank you. We originally put in $21 million for Gateway, and then through some horse trading, we actually got it to $25 million. So that's the currently proposed amount for Gateway is $25 million.
Right. And is the time for horse trading through, or is there potential to do some more horse trading?
There's plenty of time. That's why we're here. We want to hear from you what
great.
Your priorities are.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Hi. So
Hi.
I was actually able to go online and play with that tool, but there's specific projects that you cannot, there's certain areas where you can actually change the dollar amount going towards a certain project within the proposition. And then there's certain propositions that's either yes or no. There's no wiggle room on how much money goes towards that prop. Specifically, the animal shelter, which we have earmarked to cost $60 million, but yet we're going to be able to build or remodel 2 fire stations at $34 million, which I find a little bit kind of odd, considering that our issue with fire stations has been ongoing since the 2018 bond. So I would like to know if there's a breakdown on what the budget is for what that animal shelter is going to be that's costing $60 million, and if there's a way to move money from that fund to other areas. And then secondly, because we have the 2050 comprehensive plan on board and we're having the growth summit on Thursday, and we've already now become the 10th largest city in the country, surpassing 1 million people, we don't have any emphasis. We're only putting $5 million towards affordable housing when we're not going to stop growing, and the ability to have affordable housing now for a lot of people is starting to become out of reach. And when the median age of the average Fort Worthian is 33 and our average income is $76,000 in the city. So I kind of would like to know, like, as far as priorities are concerned and our desire to grow, which we can't really control because Fort Worth is an attractive place. I moved here 8 years ago and I wanted to stay that way. If there's a way that we can talk about our intentionality towards our growth and also making it a place where families can come and grow and be, they can survive and thrive in the city.
Yeah. And can I grab your name? I'm Tara. Tara, thank you for a great couple of questions. So I'm going to start breaking it down just for almost like one of the easier ones. No, it's great. Thank you so much for coming prepared. So the first question related to the Balancing Act, as far as like the online interactive and how that is set up. We actually have our wonderful coworker who actually set up the Balancing Act, and that is Connor.
Hey.
Go for it.
All right, so Connor McDonald, senior planner. Wow, this one's louder than I thought. But yes, with the Balancing Act, you're right. There are some tools or some subject areas, say like traffic signals. You can go up, you can hit plus and minus certain dollar values. It's because like so many traffic signals, it is easier to move allocation up and down, say like $1 million here, $1 million down. But the animal control shelter, but animal control shelter is a little bit different, where it's like it is $60 million to fund a new animal control shelter. So it is more of a yes or no, like, because that is the cost. Or here, Brian, you want to answer?
Yes. Brian Doherty, co-compliance director. We did have a consultant work up, what would a new shelter cost, because you have to come up with adequate room for the animals, and it's a new facility and updated systems. I was a little confused. Were you were comparing it to the Fryer renovation, or that would be $30 million to this $60 million?
Yeah, I'm really just talking about more in the realm of what our priorities are. That's what I'm alluding to.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, and that's why we're having this right here. So that's what that reflects on. But it was a need, when they surveyed all the departments on what we're going to have. So that's why the existing shelters South Shelter's coming up on 30 years old, and there's not as much natural light for the animals. It's been added on to and contorted, and they go through a lot of wear and tear because of the amount of cleaning and HVAC and plumbing. So it's going through a lot of repairs and constant maintenance, where a new facility would correct that on the animal services side of things.
And can I ask you a follow-up question? Does our animal shelter serve anyone else in Tarrant County, or is it just Fort Worth? Do we share cost of animal control, animal services to that shelter with anyone else? Any other municipalities?
Not with any other municipalities per se. We have a couple of interlocal agreements, but it's a very small percentage compared to what we house. It's really picking up some animals here and there, not full-blown. There's whole other cities that are coming in as a cooperative effort.
But with the new facility, would that then be a part of that? Would anyone else sharing in the cost of this, or would we be sheltering or providing services to anyone else outside of Fort Worth?
No. It would only be serving the citizens of Fort Worth, but we can't stop people all the time from dropping off animals or whatnot. So there's a little bit of mitigation, but no, it's not a scenario where all these other cities are coming in, and that's not the case. So.
All right, thank you, Tara. Thank you. And then your last question related to affordable housing and the $5 million that's currently shown for that specific prop. That is a dollar that can change, and so that is definitely something that I know council or specific council members have had interest in possibly increasing. But again, it's all about this public engagement round. So if you do feel strongly about it, highly recommend engaging, vocalizing with your respective council member, but then also going online and speaking to us today, which you're doing. Thank you. All right.
The topic is streets and street lights.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to ride within police cars, and I was in the Stop 6 area, and I was shocked at how dark the streets were there. And I think when you're talking about road improvements and light improvements, there's a balance between the new growth, which needs roads and which needs lights, and there can be, from my perspective, an overemphasis on providing those services to the new growth at the potential expense of older communities whose roads are deteriorating, and some have very few lights. And I would encourage the city to look at the balance that we have there.
Absolutely, thank you. We do have Lauren Prier here today, our Director of Transportation and Public Works. So you've been heard. Absolutely. Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. All right.
It's for the people at home watching it streaming.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay. Can you explain how the sort of the carve-outs for public art work as we have our bond package? What we don't see public art, but it's in there. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So here located on this slide, and this is one of our title slides, at the bottom of the table, you'll see kind of like the breakout for the public art funding, and this relates back to our city ordinance. So it's at 1% for Proposition A. So we take into account the total projects, and of the total projects amount, 1% is allocated for public art. And then 2% for those specific projects within B through F. So that is actually that dollar value of a total of 10.8 million is within each one of those proposition. Like that's the total amount of 10.8 million. Yes. 10.8 million. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much for asking such great questions. We continue to encourage you to, again, go to the respective tables, fill out any comment cards, and we look forward to seeing you at future bond meetings, I hope. All right.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. They did a great job, I think, providing two great presentations. Give them a round of applause. Thank you all again for coming this evening. Again, I'm Macy Hill. I represent District 7. I'm happy to answer questions or help you connect to your council person if you have specific questions about the bond or specific areas in your neighborhood. But again, thank you all so much for coming, and we'll see you all next time.